Hey there folks, me again here, Zero Nobody, and welcome to Yugioh Master Duels. And today I just wanted to show off a deck that I used to reach Platinum 5. I haven't reached Platinum 1 yet, mainly because, the deck I had just had really bad matchups, but this deck probably can get you to Platinum 1, as I have various sources. What would you say, you can reach Platinum 1, Mr. Azazel? As he ignores me. Anyways, the deck to here today...
No, yeah, I'm sorry.
No,
Sorry.
no, you're good.
No, yeah. Actually, it's gotten multiple of us to platinum one. Me, and a couple of other friends have also made it platinum one because of this.
So anyways,
And the main reason is because for some reason in Duel Masters, people are still experimenting with stuff right now. And most of the meta seems to work on make big board and pass and like hold hand traps to ensure turn 3 you can OTK, but it doesn't really matter if they don't get a turn 2, you know?
Exactly.
Which
This deck says
this
Maxi
deck.
Challenge. It doesn't matter if there's no turn 3 afterwards. So anyways, let's show off the deck. So it's just honestly a pure Crusadia build. We run 3 of all the cards, and most of the cards are rares and normals. The only one, as you can see right here in the extra deck, there's only 3, technically 3. But let's be honest, I'm gonna cut. That's your extra deck. That's entirely your extra deck right there. These 6 cards right here. In fact, you don't even need this. It would only be these 5. So if you really wanted to build this deck, it's actually really cheap. And Lightning Storm, you can just easily replace that with something else. I crafted Maxis, and I wanted to give it a try. I'm still trying new stuff, but you don't need these Maxis, let's be honest. What would you need in response? Let me see. What would you need in response? Well, let's see. Let's go Space Typhoon. Let me see what the cards I own. So if you don't have any URs, or you just want to use nothing but like pure rares and normals, because like, I'll be honest, I'm always hesitant when it comes to crafting stuff, because I'm like, I don't want to craft anything, because you're so limited. You can use.
Well, even then,
yeah.
even as response, you could just use their archetype negates and stuff. Like Crusadia Power really does come in clutch, since it just makes the target unaffected. And also Revelations also comes really handy because one, it stops your opponent from chaining any effects when you activate them, so you don't have to worry about hand traps to begin with, because they can't ash you when you activate your effects after you've played that card. And you don't have to worry about being ghost ogred or the other hand traps because there's no chaining allowed, so all your monsters become speed 5 rather than staying what they are.
Yep,
and those cards themselves are just rares and normals.
And like I'm showing off here, like, honestly, that's the whole deck right here. Just, it's nothing but normals and rares. And like I said, the extra deck, you only need these 4 cards. So technically, you can really build this deck for cheap and just only need 2 SRs. You don't even need, you can even just craft them too if you really wanted to. So that's why, like, CRUSADIA, honestly, it's a great deck. It's a great beginner deck. It'll get you to Platinum 5 for sure. I still have yet to reach Platinum 1. I reached 3, but then I starting in some bad matchups. But anyways,
it's an easy Plat 1, but once you start getting into Plat 3, 2, and 1, that's where people start playing a lot of just lockdown decks. Which obviously isn't really fun, but that's the way Yu-Gi-Oh is most of the time.
Yep. Now, I'm going to start playing some replay videos, so let's play this one. I believe this one is against Herald of Perfectionist. So let's see here. As you see, we got a decent hand. We got 1 Crusadia, a World Legacy, Parallel XE. This is actually a really good card. Just good in general. Then we got a Kaiju and Crusadia Power. So you have protection for when they have something to do. Oh, this isn't it. So you got a Lightning Storm, and he set 3. Alright, cool. Top deck, another Crusadia, and Kaiju. Oh, I remember this duel now. He Kaijus, and then he Maxes me, and then I say, okay, sure. There is not going to be a turn 3 after this. So yes. Parallel XCs. Whenever you link summon, you can summon it to where it points to, and then summon another copy from deck. And here's where I kind of messed up, I'll be honest. I put it right there. I shouldn't have. I should have put it here in the middle. So as you see, he's just drawing a bunch of cards. Let's fast forward this a bit. He calls, get rid of that. And I add that because, I realized I messed up. So, eco back. And that would have been game if I just summoned this Parallel Siege right here in the middle. But instead, what I decided to do was just go for a backup play and summon CRUSADIA Avermax. Which, again, it is nice. But do you need it? Not necessarily.
Yeah, Avermax is, if you can't get that one turn OTK, going into Avermax does allow your forces your opponent to roll Towers boss monster, Towers S class monster to deal with. And again, if you do play any kind of, just additional negations or protections on him in general, it makes it pretty much impossible for him to get anything to stop it.
And then, as you saw right there, he maxied me again. And as soon as he flipped that trap and realized he can do nothing, he just scoops because he knows he lost. Because actually, I didn't even go through all the CRUSADIA effects. Well, I'll talk about it at the end.
Well, it's pretty simple, really. Each CRUSADIA effects are quite simple. So you have your base ones, including you have Maximus. Maximus should always be summoned last when pointing to one of your final, your Link 3 or Link 4, Equamax or Avermax. Because his effect works by, you choose one CRUSADIA monster on the field, any battle damage it does doubles, which some people might not know, but Powers states, the spell card Powers, states that a CRUSADIA monster is unaffected by other card effects. However, Maximus' effect doesn't actually affect him, affects the damage he does, so no matter what, it will always be doubled, so you don't have to worry about that. There is also freaking the lion, Regulix? Not Regulix, that's the Link version of the lion.
I thought it was Leonidas or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Hold on, I'll pull up the card name. But the lion one, he gives piercing damage, so if you do go against a deck that does have a set card, you do want to try to grab him in hand and activate his effect, and his effect works the same way as Maximus. So even if you power your monster and make it unaffected, or cards make your monster unaffected, like your opponent tries to reduce his attack points by making him unaffected by your field spell, you still automatically get to activate those effects. Obviously, the field spell works the same way, where it doesn't affect him, but affects the state of the game, rather, allowing him additional attacks rather than affecting him and giving him additional attacks. There's also Arborea. Arborea is your deck's normal, just engraved protection. So Arborea banishes herself and stops your CRUSADIAs from being destroyed.
Hold on, I'm gonna pause right here because I just want to show off this. So right now I face against a Thunder Dragon player. He just summoned Thunder Dragon Colossus, and he equipped it with Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. The baby that says if it's equipped, you cannot summon from the extra deck. So over here, see, this is always the ideal hand you want. You want one Kaiju, one CRUSADIA, maybe a power to protect yourself so they can't do anything about it. And that's technically the three you want. Because then you can always do this. You Kaiju what is the biggest threat. And then for here, the power is to protect yourself when they have a response like this. And then after that, you're good to go to pop off. You get to go full CRUSADIA combo. Anyways, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to pause like that.
No, yeah. It's true, it's just really interesting. CRUSADIAs do have a lot of answers. So, like Leonis gives piercing, that's his name. Then there's CRUSADIA Draco. CRUSADIA Draco is your graveyard retrieval. So when he special summoned to the rest of them, other than Maximus, Arborea, and Leonis, all share the same thing that, well, all Crusadia normal monsters share the effect that they can be special summoned to a zone a link monster points to. Arborea, Maximus, and Leonis, however, do not have an effect when they are special summoned. They have activated effects. Well, Draco, Reclusia, and Reclusia do have on summon effects. So Draco, when he is special summoned to a zone, a link monster points to, he gets to add back any Crusadia card from your graveyard to your hand. Well, Reclusia, when they're special summoned, gets to pop one card on your side of the field and one card on your opponent's side of the field. Obviously, doesn't come up often, but if you do powers Reclusia, if you summon him, target himself, and you have a card that's been powered, and you target that card, then you get the effect for free because it pops something and your card's been powered, so then it doesn't happen, which is fine. There's also World Legacy World Crown, which of all the World Legacy decks, well, of their storyline at least, which Crusadia falls under, each get their own World Legacy artifact to go along with them. And Crusadias have World Crown, which has the same effect as the rest of Crusadias to be special summoned to a zone a link monster points to, and has the quick effect that if a monster summoned from the extra deck activates their effect, you can destroy it, World Crown, Top World Crown, and negate the effect and return it to the deck, which is very great, super useful. Obviously, you run the sweet Kaiju package for the
because for this specific reason right here, as you see, my opponent has Beatrice, Lady of Drytron, and he has Herald of Ultimateness, so he can negate summons too by discarding a card, and he has 3 cards in hand. He has all the answers, but this is also why you run the Kaijus, because they are also the answers. Just Kaiju again, the biggest problem. So the Ultimateness, and there you go. You're good to go. You don't care anymore, because why? Because there's going to be no turn 2 afterwards.
Yep. Even if your opponent, which most people will, it's based Yugioh to always play recovery cards just in case you get board wiped, especially people who play decks like that have pure, neg your entire field boards, or unbreakable boards as they would call them. And you break that board, then they always play recovery cards. Especially now that Maxi is at 3 in this game, people usually run the 3 Maxis and they activate it. And you as a player, most decks are like, oh man, I gotta be cautious, but this deck doesn't. Whole sole purpose is to one-shot. That's the entire thing. It's literally Yu-Gi-Oh's glass cannon of a deck. So, though if your opponent can find a way or knows exactly where to negate your effects, or if your hand's not that great, which sometimes that happens, obviously. That's how it be sometimes. No deck can be perfect. And this deck's main flaw is if you're going against somebody who knows precisely when to hit you, then obviously they'll have that precision strike that will destroy your one-shot cannon, which is perfectly fine. But usually that's why we run additional cards other than the base deck to have responses, like the Kaiju, like certain other things, just to get rid of those downfalls in the deck. And that's pretty much Yu-Gi-Oh! Really. Is to make a good deck and then add support to make it better. We also have the Link monsters, which in coercion from each one are pretty simple. Magius, your Link 1, when a card is special summoned to a zone they point to, gets to add you a card, any Crusadia card any Crusadia monster. From your deck to your hand. The Link 2, right after it, is whenever when a card is special summoned to a Link zone, to a zone it points to, you add a Crusadia spell from your deck. Then you have Spatha. Spatha is interesting. You don't use her in your main chain. Spatha is, like I said, if you can't OTK that one turn, or if they force you to go first, you use Spatha to try to increase your field and give yourself as many zones to make as many cards as possible. You would mainly use it if you were going to go Avramax and you had the cards to make both Avramax and Equimax. You would make them both together and use Sabbatha to move Avramax into a position so that Equimax could be at 8,000 attack and untargetable, undestroyable, as well as Avramax 6,000, giving you a pretty much unbreakable field. And if you have powers and Testament, if you play Testament, your opponent pretty much loses, right? Because your effects can't be chained to. Equimax effect automatically negates them. Avramax automatically forces them to attack him. And if you have powers, you make them unaffected by everything. So that's what its purpose for is to make an unbreakable board.
Mm-hmm.
Equimax is your final boss. It's like a final boss. Usually, if the deck goes as planned, you would just end on Equimax with Maximus and one other card to him. And if you are playing the Kaiju package, you always want the Kaijus to be directly point over your freaking link zone.
Yeah, the extra monster zones. This way, when they point up, they get their power.
Mm-hmm. So that you still effectively make the Kaiju that you summoned a 0 attack monster, which again is fine. On average, this deck does minimum the lowest damage I've done with this deck ever, and that's with a lot of negating from my opponent's side of attack, like dropping attack, is 8,000 exactly. Mm-hmm. I've never once gotten lower than 8,000 attack, and the maximum I've gotten is 20,000 attack directly, which is super nice. Though I would warn people, when using this deck, it is really good for climbing in ranks. However, if you're looking to get a whole bunch of points to level up your character, your actual profile, it will not give you that. For some reason, Master Duels does not have a point system that helps one-turn kills. In fact, you get less points. So if you do want a deck that gives you more points, I recommend you look somewhere else. Find the deck that is a lot more grindy, because the longer the game goes on, that's how Master Duel applies points. So one-turn KOing people isn't very helpful for point gainage. And obviously we have Avramax as the last CRUSADIA Link monster, and he's pretty simple. He's a towers-based monster, so he's he makes all his cards unaffected. He can't be destroyed by battle, and he's pretty much unaffected by card effects. Anytime he battles a special summon monster, he gains 3,000 attack, boosting him to 6,000, making him really hard. And when he's sent to the graveyard, then you can target a card on your opponent's side of the field and shuffle him back. So he does have his own field negations and stuff like that as well. Super useful. Though you wouldn't go into him usually. So I recommend either run 1 or 2 of him. You don't really need him. He's there only as an emergency card if things go south quickly.
He really is. That's what I was saying. You don't really need it. Like, the 4 cards I showed you, that's all you need. He's there. If you have him, cool, but he's also there in case if, for some reason, you couldn't finish it off that turn.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a nice little thing to just be there to protect you.
Yeah. Ratio-wise, I only run 3 Magius and then 2 of the rest of the package. And of course, by doing that, leaves my extra deck at 11 and allows me 4 extra slots for other spicy techs, whether that be, I don't know, Yugioh or any of the Nightmares, and anything else that I might find useful at the moment.
You never know. This deck does have more than just Unga Bunga attack for big numbers, but it does get the job done, so you can never go wrong with it.
I got 2 will cards from one pack.
So.
Yeah. The Crusadias are relatively cheap for a first deck, I would say. They make a good starter deck. However, another downside of them they're quite boring. They're very no brain
Yeah.
gaming. They're very turn off your brain cells and just do one step at a time.
Mm-hmm.
Because the main play will you go normal summon, special summon, special summon, link summon, and that's pretty much it. It just normal once, turn that into a link, special summon once, turn those to a link, special summon once, turn those to a link, special summon once, game.
Mm-hmm.
That's the entire deck. It can get boring, but it's effective and does what needs to be done.
Oh yeah, no, like this is very linear. There's really no like slide of improvements. Like the deck does what it does, and it does it great. Because even if your opponent knows you're playing, even if they're stream sniping me, because I put TV, even if they're stream sniping me, there's really nothing they can do. Because like it will, even if you know exactly what the cards are, there's nothing you can do about it because what it does is going to happen. That's what the kaiju is. You summon an attack position. So if they want to be smart and set something, nope, you just give them something and bam, slap it on. Piercing, double damage. It does everything and it does its job. But yeah, it can get boring.
Yeah, and to the point where sometimes you make those minor mistakes while playing the deck. The deck is very linear and does one thing and one thing extremely well, to the point where if you do make a slight mistake, you will, like a single misplay will throw off your entire game. Though you still win, no matter what, you would still probably win, you would end up not getting as big a result.
Mm-hmm.
Though in the end, I guess it doesn't really matter.
In the end, it doesn't matter. But you know what? I say again, this deck will definitely get you to Platinum 5. Platinum 3. I have still yet to reach 1. This man has reached 1 with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still working on it. But all in all,
but the difference between me and Andy is I spent a lot of time in crafting resources to make sure my deck had a lot of really good extenders and stuff like that, just because certain people, just in case certain things. Like my kaiju package does make up a good majority of my deck instead of what would normally be. Like right now, to make the deck as it should be to work properly, you'd only need 4 kaiju, 3 of which are rares. So you just need 4 differently named kaijus and 2 of the interrupted kaiju slumber, if anything. Those 2 are URs, so that might be something, but you only need to run 1 if you have to. Or you could just hope for luck and just run the 4 kaijus. Either way, it's up to you. But unlike Andy, I play 2 of 3 different kaijus, which are rares, and I run 3 of the interrupted kaiju slumber alongside other recovery cards, such as Pot of Avarice and other pot cards, which are also URs.
Yep.
Which steadily increases.
But that all goes in the theory and crafting, and that's for you to experiment with. But I just want to show off the deck. These maxis honestly have not been doing anything for me, so but you know what? I'm still trying. But I will have to wrap it up there because I showed off all the replays I have. Any final thoughts and says? Crusadias, like I said, Crusadias will get you there. They'll get you there for sure. And honestly, if you're not gonna spend $1 on this isn't a bad deck to get, because you'll definitely get your gems. Any final thoughts, Mr. Zazel?
Final wrap up thoughts. Crusadia, hyper cheap, very good. However, brain dead boring and not very good for profile leveling.
Alright, and with that, we're gonna call it here. Thank you everybody for watching, and hopefully we can do more Master Duels. So there is more Master Duel stuff coming. I just can't promise how much or when, because as anybody who knows, my YouTube and Twitch and other stuff isn't very consistent, but I still try. But till next time, bye bye.